Ooh, good to me. Okay. I need coffee. I need support. I need to support myself. These past 2 years were definitely years of transitioning for me. And, ooh, I don't feel like being on camera. And make sure my ringer's off. I'm getting closer and closer to writing this book. I wasn't going to write the book because I was feeling like it was my job to protect everybody else and their feelings on two sides of this existence of myself. And doing the genealogy research and really getting a comprehension of small comprehension. Genealogy is huge. Um, I'm to the point where now I'm wondering, what ancestors am I supposed to keep? What ancestors am I supposed to just act like don't exist? Like the war lineage is so heavy on my tree. It's hard to see who's family and who isn't just an act of war. So I don't even know how long I've been no contact. I've done pretty good with it. I made one little oopsie last week. I saw my uncle that died, um, his son, on a social media site, and when I saw his face, it just moved me because I saw familiarity, and I'm really not. It's not nothing that it's just widespread. Especially growing up my entire life, no one looked like me. I didn't look like anybody. Yeah, my coffee. So I reached out to him because I love his mother. His mother married my uncle, and they had beautiful children on a farm. And I haven't seen them, my gosh, since my grandma passed. I didn't even get to see my grandma when she passed. I didn't know she was asking to talk to me, which I'm sure she needed to, but she also had a lot of time to discuss anything or any issues she had with me way before her dying day. So, ever since I took this DNA test, my whole perception of family and what they're capable of have really, really changed. So many things that I've learned that really pushed me to say, there's nothing healthy about this situation. Me going no contact doesn't actually help me. The pain is embedded. The truth can't hide from me anymore. I almost feel like going no contact. I really do feel this way. It was for everyone else not to experience what I'm experiencing so that everyone else can just live on with their lives and not be accountable, not be attached, not be a part of my truth, even though they are. So many things are triggering me lately. All of this assault talk, bringing up the 90s, all the stuff that was going on, me remembering how we treated each other as people in my teens and as a child, just really digging in my memories, trying to find where were the safe spaces, who were the safe people, not what I thought, but who really, where were the safe spaces? Family should be a safe space where you're protected, loved, nurtured, taught. It shouldn't be where you learn lessons in deceit. And I do remember, like, when, let me get my coffee. I do remember when I was younger how there was always just a fear. It was just this fear of not being able to be safe. That was a real thing. And it has manifested greatly since I've learned. I don't want to say I learned the truth, since I learned the reality of what happened to my mother. And to this day, I am still angry. I'm still a little angry. I'm still hurt. I'm still confused at how adults can be so cruel. How human beings can be so cruel to one another. And a lot of people ask me all the time, "Are you okay?" And I always say yes. I would appreciate not being asked that. No, I'm not okay. I'm doing the best I can with a situation that I don't wish on nobody. I'm so proud of myself last week when my aunt, who I hadn't talked to in a long time, started mentioning my grandmother. The heat and anger that hit me so hard. I was able to conquer that in that moment because I loved her enough to hide the truth and let her believe in who she wanted to believe. I didn't want to be the one to say, you can't respect this person because this person did A, B, C, D. I don't want to be that person. But I also don't want to mute my healing and mute my journey for others' comfortability. And I have been doing that a lot these past 2 years. And that's what really pushed me to go no contact, because I need to process so much. And people outside of me, I don't know, it's like when you're dealing with something, the whole world has a timeline for you where they want to see you healed. They don't want to hear your gripe. They don't want to hear what you have to endure. And then I think of my mother. This is why my mother is on a feeding tube today, because she was silenced. Poor little dark-skinned girl. I want no contact to protect everyone else, because protecting me is too late. It's too late for any protection for me. Well, I was wide open for all the attacks. I mean, I could have been told years ago the truth. I would have probably took a DNA test more in a private fashion. Would have never done my genealogy had I known such a horrible thing happened to my mother, which got me here. Would have never done it, but I just wonder sometimes if I had been treated humanely, me and my mother, how would this situation look today? I can't even imagine it. What if two black families in 79 stood up against my father and stood up for that little girl that he hurt? instead of blaming her. To this day, I've heard people blame my mother. I went no contact to protect you. Not to protect me. There is no protection for me. I have to live with a reality that I loathe. Then it makes me look at my mother's line and wonder how many of these women were abused. How many of the children that came from these women wombs came here out of hell? How many? I know there's me. I know there's my mom. Who else? Grandma? Great-grandma? All the way back to Pocahontas? How many? How many victims? And this society forces us to shut up and drive. Shut up and dribble. It's amazing the growth that I'm being forced to take on. It probably wouldn't be so heavy on me had I had some help. I'm not complaining. I will never complain. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the truth. I'm not grateful for the deceit. I'm not grateful for the abandonment. I'm not grateful for having a father cost me my whole entire family. I'm not grateful for that. Have I forgiven? Yes. There's nothing else for me to do. Have I forgotten? No. I still have a child to protect, myself. And I don't want to walk in the line in the light of my most recent ancestors and their actions. Even though their blood is in my blood. Just like the enslavers' blood is in my blood. Just like the Indians they erased, they're in my blood. Just like the Africans who went through I don't know what. It's all in my blood. It's all there. So when a lot of people ask me, are you okay? What kind of question is that? What is okay? Are you asking me, are you okay with swallowing all of this hell? Is that what you're asking me? I am doing the best I can with a situation that no one wants to deal with. I want no contact to protect you, not me. There is no protection for me. I've got to walk through this with my head up, my chest out, in honor of my mother. While everyone's honoring who they pick and choose, I'm going to honor the victim. I remember what they used to say about us as a child. What was ever said about those monsters that lived amongst us, that paid the bills? I mean, I get being a provider. But what are you providing when you're a monster too? When you're destroying people's lives. My mother suffered 60 years here. Everybody was like, Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving. My mother's on a feeding tube. I don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm grateful every day. I'm thankful every day. I don't need a United States government holiday to tell me when to be thankful, to tell me when to care about my loved ones, to tell me when to care about myself, to be thankful for what I have left. It's hard to explain a complex situation and put them in simple words. It's very, very hard to do. But I'm really grateful. Peace and love to the block. If you meditate, please say my name. It's a positive energy. I have been going through a lot of tower moments this past couple of months. Some of them I have passed. Some of them I need more work on. I've been living with an anger that's older than me. It's older than my father. I've been live I've been living with this energy that I could not put my finger on. And that is the main source for why I have been so adamant of finding my truth. I could have been looking for something that wasn't there. I could have just had a normal tree. But clearly something was pulling me to find out why my mother and brother and I experienced what we did. Why? And I probably will never know why, but I know what. I know who, what, when, and where. And there's so many things that I probably will never. I'm not going to say that because I'm going to write this book. This book has definitely been manifesting for the past 2 years. And I'm glad that I'm more on this journey. I'm glad that I'm further on this journey because at one time I was like, I'm not writing this book. It's horrible. But I didn't have a deeper perception. I was still on the surface of everything. Now that I'm going back 14, 20 generations and seeing the war, and mind you, I'm just looking at paperwork. Imagine the actual instances in the lives of these people had to what they were enduring. I want no contact to continue protecting those who honestly should not be protected anymore. And it's amazing how one thing triggers another. For so long, I'm not even going to speak about me. I'm going to take me out the equation. For so long, my mother was silenced and buried under stereotypes that are always put on little black girls. I will never understand that. I never saw my daughter as less than. I never could look at a child and call it a roach. I went no contact to protect everybody else. I did. I did. Because I can't protect me from this. This is, I can't separate myself from the truth now that I found it. Now, was I living in split energy for over 40 years, not knowing who I was, not knowing what happened to my mother, not knowing who my father was, not knowing I had sisters? I know everybody is upset that DNA came out. Because people would have lived and died as they did and never been accountable. Never righted one wrong. You know how many times I have apologized to my mother for things I didn't have no control over. My father cost me my whole family. Cost me normalcy. Cost me everything. My generational wealth cost me everything. And I forgive him. Because I can't negate, had he not harmed my child mother, which is what he wanted to do, I wouldn't be here. My daughter wouldn't be here. So yeah, don't ask me, am I okay? Ask me, how am I holding up? How are you dealing with what you're having to face? So I can tell you, I'm doing good. I'm not in the hospital. I'm not suicidal. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not knocking on people's doors, running up in their house. I'm doing amazing. Am I hurt? Yes. Am I angry? Yes. Do I stay here? No. Do I get triggered? Yes. All of this SA talk in the 90s that took me back to a time when it was my turn to be abused. Because no one wanted to break no chains. Everyone wants to play God, play godly, but break no chains. So you hide the chains, and for the people that's watching, you make up all kinds of stories to cover your own ass. Forgive me. And then I have to listen to people praise you. I wanted to tell my aunt so bad what my grandma did, but you know what? It said something. A spirit came over my spirit and said, you can't crush her. You're not them. You know how much she loved your grandma. She loved your grandma almost as much as you did. You can't crush her. You love her. And my spirit was right. I could not tell this story to one more person, to anyone that close to me and close to my grandmother. It would crush her. She would probably turn on me. She would probably say, "Oh, you're just like your mom. You're a crackhead. You're a crack baby. She probably would have turned on me. But I don't believe that's her energy. But when you love somebody and somebody's attacking someone you love, you protect them even when they're wrong because you don't know them. You don't know any better. She don't know what my grandma did to my mom. I do. I'm the only one that listened to my mother tell her truth. That's the thing about the United States and these modern Americans and the families here. You don't really want the truth. You want what's easiest. You don't want the truth. You don't want the hard part. You don't want to do the hard work. That's going to have to be done here. Before any of our children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren get any peace. I protected my daughter because I know what happened to me, even though everybody don't know. Because I ain't told everything. And to the people out there that's scared to death thinking that I'm going to bring some cases against you, I'm not. Listen. I am so healed from what happened to me because I know that it was, I don't want to say a curse, but I know that it was already ordered on my entire bloodline. I already know that. So I take what happened to me had to happen to me to get me here. But it didn't work that way for my mother. She couldn't beat it. She couldn't beat y'all. She couldn't beat her community. You know, they dropped a bomb on us in 83. What happened to my mother had already happened. Imagine them calling the police. How? Not dark-skinned people in West Philly wasn't calling no police for no help. There was no help for us, for them. Go to the neighbor's house and say what this man did. Imagine that. To this day, people are blaming my mother. And to this day, this is why I'm going no contact. Because I am not going to do time. Because people want to dehumanize little brown girls and boys. Like, what would it feel like if your own mother dehumanized you? Mom, this man harmed me. Oh, you're just fast. What did you do? This behavior didn't come from nowhere. Those patterns of thinking and shame, that shit don't come out of nowhere. It is deeply rooted. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to study what has happened. Not a fake narrative, not some pretty story that everybody, because we want to play kumbaya. You don't get to play kumbaya in the middle of war. I been knew I was a war baby. I've been nobody like my DNA didn't have to tell me this, even though it proves it. I didn't need my DNA to tell me this. You can feel it. I remember being a little girl and needing to go to adults, and I was terrified of these people. That's not normal. And yet I still needed to eat. I still needed somewhere to sleep. I still needed to be human. I tell you. Ooh, child. I would no contact for everyone that I wish I loved. I want to say that I love my family. I wish I could love them. That's the only way. Like, I don't not love anybody. I love everybody. So when I say I'm severed, a lot of people don't understand where I'm coming from, because you would have to be me. This is not normal. This is not something that, like, there probably is a majority of us out here though. But we're scared to death. I did the most brave. Now, I'm a very brave person. I did the most bravest thing I could have done. When I was on the phone with that lady, and she called me, one of these cousins, when I took that DNA test, September 18th, 2021, and this lady called me and she said, something's wrong. How old are you? How old is your mother? This looks like this is either your great-grandfather or your father. What is going on? And we worked through that. I told her, I can't do this. When she read that man's address, I said, I can't do this. She said, yes, you can and you will. I said, no, I cannot. I wanted to jump out of my window because I felt all the guilt, the hurt, everything started adding up. Everything started adding up. And I could not face that people that close to me would do something like that. So when people out here say somebody did something to them and it ain't even their family, I'm not saying that people don't lie, but sometimes everybody ain't lying. Because it's hard to stand up against your own blood when they've done something this devastating. This legacy can't stay under the table no more. It cost my mother her peace. My mother is too young to be on a feeding tube for the rest of her life. As a child, a terminal illness, kicked out in the street. How? So many attacks from from the state on. It's just unbelievable that we're even still standing. That I'm still standing. I'm not even going to say what. Because I'm the only one in this situation claiming the truth. Everybody else is running with their tails between their legs. And I'm happy for you. I hope you find peace. Not standing in the truth. I'm not looking for peace standing in my truth. I'm looking for balance. I can barely get peace in my blood. My blood should be at war with itself, literally. I've got the French and Indian War in my blood. I've got the British against the indigenous peoples in my blood. I got the colonists, the Mayflower people against whoever they was against. The Indians, it's all in my blood and it fits. I'm starting to understand myself on a deeper level now that I know what I'm made of. I think people are scared of that. Don't be scared. But then again, do what you feel is best. What I'm doing took a lot out of me. It takes a lot out of me every day. Some days I cannot. Some days I don't get triggered. I sat here and read some court papers last night. I had no business reading them. But I can't run from what I need to face. That's crazy to me. I can't imagine my grandmother, after I would leave her house, what would she think to herself? That baby don't know nothing I did. I mean, I just wonder. Maybe she didn't think about it at all. That day on her deathbed when she was asking for me, and her daughter said, I'm not letting her come here. I wonder what she would have told me. It might have been best that I would. It might have been best. I appreciate everything the way it happened after the fact of what was done. Everything that was done, I have no respect for. And the people who reacted to me in a very understanding way since this has been revealed, I want to thank you. I really, really, really want to thank you because this was very hard. It's still hard. It's still hard. There are so many people who are choosing growth. And I mean, even me, I never imagined that I would be sitting here trying to pick up pieces and put my life back together. I always thought that, I would just crash out. And I'm really just no contact was the best thing I could have did for me. I think I would have short circuited my nervous system had I kept trying to just overextend myself in every direction and trying to make other people comfortable with my reality. Whether they share a piece of it or not, it's still my reality. And I'm honestly sorry that I had to find out this way because it made it kind of worse. It made it worse because there's no one invested in the healing aspect of this because no one wants to face that it's real. Facing reality is a huge thing, especially when it's uncomfortable. I haven't talked to my mother in months. I probably won't ever hear from her again. I could be wrong, but I could be right. And I totally understand where she's coming from. I can't imagine being in her shoes. I can't imagine being in her shoes. But I know what it's like being her daughter, and I really love her. And I really want the best for her. Even if that's a life without me, I want her to be happy and I want her to be loved and I want her to experience just peace. I want her to experience peace. I feel like if this was never supposed to come out, it would have never came out. I feel like if this was never supposed to be revealed, I would have never looked for the truth, for the answers. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't um, make the results. I simply searched for them. And I told myself whatever I found, I was going to work through it. I was going to run from it. I was going to work through it. And I kept my word. I kept my word. My princess is up. How do you know you're right on schedule? You're literally in the process of becoming the best version of yourself as we speak. This path is forcing you to showcase your authenticity. There's so much purpose in that, so much truth to be experienced. Surrendering to the unfolding, allowing life to greet you in new ways. This is all part of your awakening. That's the source message for today. I love those messages. They are so helpful on this journey that I'm on. I want to say reclaiming my time, but it's not even that. It's just remembering parts of me that have been just lost. Standing on a real truth, a new truth, and giving myself value instead of seeking value from outside energies. So really putting value into myself, into my talents, into my creations. It's really a lifesaver. So am I okay? Yes. Of course I'm okay. Am I going through a process? Yes. I do believe this is not lifelong, but I do believe it's definitely trying when you have to protect yourself from your own people. It's a very, very, very strenuous process. Because first you have to realize that your people aren't your people. And I'm not judging. This is coming from a place of love and just comprehension. I want to stay, I want to grow, I want to be in a healthy space in my heart and in my family. And sometimes what that looks like is it starts with me. Like it may have to just start here because going backwards, there's nothing healthy. So I can either continue these patterns of unhealthy generational stuff, baggage, or I can work on something that heals. I can work on being in a space where 4 years from now, I won't be as triggered. But I don't know. I don't know. My mom's still here. I wouldn't even say we're estranged. Like, this is just how it has to be. She deserves some peace. I've learned so much about what she had to go through, and it's just so heartbreaking that a lot of children in the 60s and the 70s, it's really heartbreaking what they went through silently. And then the crack era just coming in like a hawk. Then you've got all of these broken people, abused people who are trying to numb themselves and escape. And I know what that's like because I used to drink like that every day because I wanted to escape this place. And whatever it was, Well, I know what it is now, and I wanted to escape myself because I was carrying stuff that I didn't understand. I didn't know how I got here. It was always a narrative, but it was never the truth. Peace and love to the block. Please, if you can, support my channel. If you can, please share, like, comment. And if you don't, I also understand a lot of people are not where I am when it comes to trauma. And I get that we all like I haven't always been vocal about trauma myself. But after dealing with it for so long and so much of it from so many different avenues, and then after reading AB 3121 AB 3121, that kind of gives a lot of context as to the dysfunctional foundation that a lot of us are literally like upholding. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to just be able to seek balance. And sometimes the balance is in the tower moment, sometimes the balance is in the storm. So many people judge from a level of their perception, not a level of the true perception of a thing, but just as far as they can comprehend. That doesn't always make a thing a thing. I will always be appalled. I will always be appalled at my maternal and my paternal side. And I don't think that there is even a way, a healthy way, to move past this, because I seem to be the only one working on moving past the right way. Most people like to ignore stuff because they don't want to do the work. And I can't make anyone do this work. Believe you me. I've been asking questions since I was a child. I can't make nobody do this work. This was a choice that I made because I care enough about my mom and I care enough about myself and I care enough about the actual truth. Not what I want to believe, not what the history books are telling me, but my actual truth of my family. It's like the disrespect for us as a people here is what built this place, and nobody wants to admit that a that is a thing. That's a real energy here. Nobody wants to admit that, but we've got all of the data proving how problematic it is being founded on inhumane practices. It trickles down, it becomes a societal norm. I'm so grateful for this new day. Grand rising to everyone, all of my block captains. I love you. Peace and love to the DNA cousins. Peace and love to my daughter. We are one more week into her healing for her burns. They look a lot better than when we started. I'm so happy. I think she may need a little plastic surgery, but I don't know. I don't want to speak anything into existence. I want to just take it as it comes calmly And I'm so proud of me. There's so much going on. Earlier today or yesterday, somebody shared, people share stuff, and sometimes I just be wondering, but everybody, I don't even know how to say it. So they were talking about single mothers, and like they're just this, I mean, basically in regular words, they're just the scum of the earth, and they don't raise healthy children. My mother was a single mother. Well, she was married. I'm a widow. I'm divorced. I guess I would be in the single mother bracket. I find that so disrespectful for the parents that are out here, male and female, single, that are out here taking care of their children. And it's like we never get any recognition ever. It's just so crazy. There's so many divisions in this society, and it's by design, and clearly everyone is happy with it. I'm just not. I'm just not, I know society can do better, but I don't control society. I'm doing better. I control me and my actions and my thoughts and my dreams and my aspirations. I control them. And this is why sometimes setting yourself apart matters. I want no contact for them because they're not ready to grow. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to drop these curses. I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to undo, speak truth to BS. I'm ready to grow. That's what I'm ready for. I'm ready to build. I'm ready to rebuild. I'm tired of being part of the ruins and complacent with that. I'm just not. I'm not complacent with being severed. Who can change that? Only I can. Only we as individuals can change, make any differences as a collective. I appreciate everybody who has stood by me during this process and not abandoned me through this. You did not have to stand by me, but you chose to, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know it's hard to see someone else go through something that you don't understand or you have not endured, and you may want to fix them. You cannot do that. That is our divine source's job. And I'm proud to be. I'm proud to have been chosen to have been worked on. I don't want this to eat me up. I don't want this to get in my body and make me sick. I don't want to end up like my mother. I don't want to end up like my father. I don't want to end up like my family members. And I'm going to be hated for that. That's the thing. I'm going to be hated for that, and that's fine with me. It's fine with me. I'm going no contact for you, to protect you from my healing and my process and my growth. And that's the beautifulest gift I can give any of my family members. I know this is probably confusing to a lot of my DNA cousins. I'm sorry that, my pain may trigger you, or my pain may make you feel some type of way about me or whatever. I'm sorry. This is bigger than us all. It's bigger than me. But I'm definitely giving my life to fix this. I want to thank my source, my divine source, for just keeping me. I mean that, for just keeping me. Like, I'm just really grateful that I made it this far. And I'm excited about where I'm going from here. Peace and love. I love you. Be safe and aware.